Oh, hello there. Yes, another week, another bit of June that slips by. Yes, indeed. Yesterday was another one of those New Culture Forum videos premieres from their conference in Birmingham recently, and I thought today I'd just ask a few innocent and very curious questions about the video. So let's go, shall we? Yes, so Amy Gallagher's video, Standing Up to the Woke NHS. It's sort of tagged underneath with this statement: the NHS is the biggest employer in Europe and the fifth biggest in the world, just behind McDonald's. This means it is also Europe's largest employer of woke, equality, diversity and inclusivity officers, positions and trainings. 10,000 EDI roles in the NHS are costing the taxpayer £550 million a year and 1 million lost working days. To put this in context, this money would fund 12,500 extra nurses. Not quite sure where or anything else. All of this is to do effectively with the 2010 Equality Act. So in other words, these people are here because it's a legal requirement. You might well not agree with equality officers. That's up to you. It's still a legal requirement. If you don't like it, write to your MP. Anyway, she goes on to sort of moan about the general ideology behind equality in the NHS. Reading about her is quite problematic because there's a kind of big hole in what this woman has to say. The nuts and bolts of this is she was training to be a mental health specialist, and she went to a training with Tavistock. Effectively, she doesn't have any issues with Tavistock or what goes on there, realistically, as far as I can make out. But she felt that she couldn't agree with the stance of the anti-racist training she was having because she, as far as I can, and again, I'm having to read between the lines here, so bear with me. She felt that she couldn't be compelled to have a particular form of anti-racism. The trainer on the course complained to her employer, and the employer had words with her, and effectively, that is that. But she has decided to go further with this, which is where we start to run into problems with it. But before we go there, let's just have a look at the press, because she's been all over the press with this. Anyway, so for example, you've got the Telegraph with nurse sues NHS for forcing racist ideology on students. First test of woke ideology in the courts as health service accused of forcing critical race theory onto people. Yeah. Now then, just sort of going further into this, Mrs. Gallagher claims it's the first legal case for lack of belief, arguing that as a white Christian woman she cannot believe critical race theory, an ideology that says racism remains institutional and rejects a colourblind approach. I don't know, I'm always blown away by these type of things. Number one, these type of cases almost invariably are from Christians, and I fail in my limited understanding of the Bible to know exactly what it is about modern theories in and around racism that go against teachings in the Bible. I'm sorry, but I just can't see it. It appears to come from quite a right-wing American evangelical approach. So she says they are forcing critical race theory onto people. You're not allowed to disagree with it, or they will bully you for 2 years. Right, okay, so she wasn't fired from her job. It isn't one of those type of things. She just feels that she was badly treated, if you like. Okay, so far, so good. And again, we'll come back to that point. I'm bringing this case to protect my career, but it's also the first test of woke ideology in the courts. The NHS is forcing someone to adopt a racist ideology, and it needs to be stopped. Okay, well, we'll perhaps see what exactly the court case is going to be. So let's look at her lawyer. This is a brief from her lawyer. The lack of belief draws attention to something that people are not talking about in free speech, in the free speech world in the West. Don't know whereabouts that is. Anyway, which I think is covered by the Equality Act under lack of belief, which is you have the right not to be forced to sign up to a set of values or ideology with which you do not agree, said the organisation's legal head, Dr. Anna. Yes, I do like the I think bit. If you look at the track record of Dr. Anna's bad law organisation. They don't have a brilliant one of actually winning cases. But so what this woman is complaining about, effectively, right? Okay, again, boiling it down to the nuts and bolts, is that she feels that she is being forced to adopt a set of beliefs, in inverted commas, that she doesn't hold. Now, most jobs have an element of that, right? I'm thinking about the Prevent programme, which covers a large section of the public services. A lot of people in the public services have a great deal of problems with a number of different things in and around the Prevent programme. However, it's the law and you have to do it. You're not forced to believe it. That's not what goes on. But you are forced to work within that remit. It's the law. And it appears here that what Amy is basically saying is, well, I don't really want it to be there as the law because I don't agree with it. Well, sorry, but that really isn't the way that the law works. And, just on a deeper level than this, as I said earlier, she hasn't been fired from her job. She's merely been reprimanded about this. And why is it, for example, that her union and or professional body, I presume it's a union, she's most likely to be a member, I would argue, potentially, if she's a union member. I don't understand. I'll come back to about why she might not be, but if she's a union member, I imagine she'd be a member of Unite. And they would, if there's a problem in and around the law with her being discriminated against, they would pick up this case and pay her legal fees. But she hasn't done that. Or has she? And the union has said no. We don't get to know. And I've read a lot about this over the last few hours, trying to dig out what exactly is going on. Why won't the union fund her? Now, you might say, oh, well, obviously the woke unions, they're not going to do that because, they're all run by Trotskyites. Okay, fine. Except, of course, unions don't actually work that way. What we have here is another one of those very, very minor cases whereby somebody has decided to run with this, be it Lawrence Fox, or be it, she's made news as far away as Fox with the headlines on this. Here she is with that well-known person in need of a mental health nurse, Jordan Peterson. So what this is about isn't really about Amy and about what she believes. It's an attempt to have a go at the law in and around the Equalities Act, because there are certain people in this country that really don't like it for a number of different reasons. Yes, that's what this is about. And again, why is it always a Christian? And what I'd like to see is Amy sitting down with a non-sympathetic audience who are prepared to ask her a few questions about, like, why your union isn't backing you. And if she isn't a member of a union, why isn't she a member of a union? It's got to be, I can't imagine someone working in the public services that wouldn't actually have that kind of legal representation to call on. But she doesn't have it. So I'm suggesting that I don't believe there's an actual case here. We will see. You can shoot me down in flames in a few months' time if we find out that there is. This is the only actual case that the Bad Law Project has at the moment, because the other ones they were going to run with ran into a few problems, like they realised they were actually going to be representing Nazis and they changed their mind. We will see. Anyway, have a lovely rest of the week.